Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Monday, the morning after Arsenal have lost their first game of the season, going down 3-1 at Manchester United. Yesterday, disappointing result on a few levels really that I'll talk about in this video. Apologies, I didn't record anything from Old Trafford yesterday. Wi-Fi is just absolutely terrible. Honestly, it's awful ground to work at, Old Trafford, one of the worst there is in the Premier League. Press box is awful and the Wi-Fi is terrible, and I just couldn't do a stream before the game, and then afterwards there was lots going on. I just didn't have time to do player ratings, so apologies for that. I will do player ratings at the end of this if you're interested in them at all. Bit after the Lord Mayor's show, I know, but still I thought I'd go through them and just talk about the game on a whole, the instance, my thoughts on it, and let's see what you see if you agree with me, disagree with me, anything I say. Always please do get involved, leave your comments below. Right, so 3-1. Not good, was it? Not a fun result. I was just driving home yesterday, just driving back down the motorway. It was so miserable. I was just going over it over and over again in my head in the performance. I'd like to watch it again to be honest. I haven't had time. I've watched the highlights, but I haven't watched the whole game or anything. I haven't had time. But I was thinking it when I was driving home last night. I'd like to watch it again and just to have another kind of look at what went on, because in real time at the game, I thought Arsenal played really, really well. I thought they were a better team comfortably. I thought they knew that they were a better team as well. You could tell that in their performance. I think they showed a lot of personality with that performance. Usually Arsenal go to Old Trafford and they're awful, play dreadfully, lose. Happens year after year. They lost yesterday, but I didn't think they played awfully by any means. I thought they showed a lot of personality. They carried on playing the way they've played all season. Thought they dominated for large periods. Things went against them at times, but also they were very naive at times, and that's what ultimately cost them. And I think if you want to be a top team, if you really want to challenge the likes of Liverpool and Man City, then you've got to cut out those errors. And look, Liverpool lost at Old Trafford a few weeks ago, so it can happen. Man United, yes, they're going for a bit of a phase at the moment, but it's still Man United at Old Trafford. They're still a formidable side, and anyone can lose there. But I just think Arsenal are going to be kicking themselves today. They will know. They'll be at London Colney today. They'll be going through stuff on the big screen there. They'll be watching the game. Arteta and his coaching staff and the analysts will be going through it all, and they will know they should have won that match yesterday. They were definitely the better side. They played some really good stuff. They dominated for large periods, but they just played into Manchester United's hands at the really key moments, and that's what ultimately cost them. I'll talk about VAR in a minute as well, because I do want to have my say on that. But, take that out of the way. Take the Martinelli goal out of the way. At 0-0, Arsenal was still really dominating that game. And then they just got caught again. They just pushed a little bit too far ahead. And the only way Man United were going to hurt Arsenal yesterday was by running into space, finding some space behind the midfield. And Arsenal just got sucked in a couple of times. The first goal, that pass that played in Bruno from Eriksen, great pass from Eriksen, who was great for United yesterday. Great pass by Eriksen, just split the lines, and suddenly Bruno's in oceans of space. That shouldn't be allowed. And even then, Arsenal went and just sort of added to the error. Gabriel diving in, doesn't need to do that, and he does it too much. He did it again, got caught out of position, then Zinchenko sort of got sucked in to try and fill the position that Gabriel had vacated, and that left Antony free. It was just a catalogue of errors from Arsenal. And look, it was a good goal by United. They took it really well. But it was just a lot of errors for Arsenal, and each person sort of added to it rather than sort of staying in their position. Zinchenko, rather than getting sucked over, should have just left it and stayed with Antony, and everyone just sort of contributed and made the error worse step by step, and that led to the goal. So that was disappointing. But the way Arsenal responded to that, the way they started the second half, I thought that was so good. And they dominated. They absolutely deserved the goal when it finally came. It should have come earlier. They missed some good chances. They kept going. They got the goal, and then I think that was the point. They just lost their heads a little bit. You could see even in the celebrations, Saka barely even wanted to celebrate. He just wanted to get back to the halfway line to carry on, because they knew they were the better team. They knew they'd been playing for ages to get level. They got level, and then all they wanted to do was go on and win it, which is admirable in a way. But they just needed to calm down a little bit and keep doing what they had been doing up to that point, because what they had been doing was dominating the game. But they just lost their heads a little bit. They thought, right, we're level, now let's go and win it. And they just lost their shape. They got caught on the sucker punch, the 2-1 goal. Again, just really, really poor. You could see how frustrated Mikel Arteta was. I was watching on the touchline. He had his head in his hands. You saw afterwards as well. He knew that and you could tell that it had been drilled into the players the whole way leading up to that game was do not leave space. And if they're making the runners, don't try and press up and play a high line because you'll get picked off. And it's exactly what they did. They did it in the second goal. They did it in the third goal. And that's what cost them. And they're just going to need to learn from that. Absolutely need to learn from that, because a game that was right there to win or at least get a point, they just threw it away and handed it to Manchester United. And fair play to United, they were absolutely ruthless. They were clinical. When they got their chances, they took them. And they saw where Arsenal's weaknesses were and they took advantage. So fair play to United. I'm not taking anything away from them. It was a really good win for them. And, 4 wins on the trot. They're doing really, really well now under Ten Hag. But, Arsenal were their own worst enemy in that game yesterday. They just got a little bit carried away. I just think they were too desperate to go on and win the game. And that ultimately cost them. And I mean, Mikel kind of contributed to it as well, I thought, with his triple sub. At the time, I wasn't totally against it. I saw what he was doing. I thought, well, at least he's going for it rather than being a bit sort of sitting on his hands and not doing anything. But it definitely did unbalance the side a little bit. And I mean, it didn't help the United scored straight away. Had Arsenal had a few minutes just to settle down, then it would have been all right. I thought Vieira showed some really good touches in that little cameo. But it certainly unbalanced the side a little bit, and maybe he didn't need to do it at that point because there was still 20 minutes to go. There was still plenty of time left, and Arsenal were playing really well at that point, and the subs just kind of sucked the life out of the game a little bit, unbalanced the team, and United scored the third straight away, and that was it. It was game over, no way back for Arsenal really after that. I mean, looking at the game, this is what Martin Odegaard had to say afterwards when he was talking about the dressing room, what it was like. And he said, everyone is super disappointed. We always played to win. We wanted to come here and get a result. I feel like everyone feels like we should have got something from that game. The game was there for us to take something. We're all disappointed. The mood is a bit down, but that's how it is. The first and the second goal, we had the momentum. We let them score 2 easy goals. It's frustrating and annoying. But yeah, as I said, we should have got something from the game. I think that's what I mean by they will be kicking themselves today, because they will know that was a really good opportunity to make a bit of a statement. Everyone was saying in the build-up to it, they haven't played anyone yet. This is their first big test. Arsenal would have been well aware that that's what people were saying. And this was a chance to really make a statement, and they should have done it. They played well enough to do it, but they just, in the real key areas of the game, they let themselves down. They finished poorly when they had the opportunities. And then defensively, all of them just had a little bit of an off day in that defence. You kind of look at them all. Zinchenko getting sucked in for the first goal. Gabriel being rash for the first goal. Saliba got his body shape all wrong, I thought, for the second goal. If he'd have carried on running the way he was, I think he would have tracked Rashford. But he sort of twisted and turned, and just his body shape was wrong for the pass. And I thought he could have done better a bit with that. Ben White for the third goal stepped out when he absolutely shouldn't have done. It was just, I don't know why he did it, but he did. And everyone just had a little bit of an off day at one point in that defence, and it cost Arsenal. And you can't afford to do that in a game at a place like Old Trafford. Okay, so VAR. Let's talk about VAR and the Martinelli goal. First of all, I think it was a foul. I'm not arguing it. I think it was a foul. I think when you look at it on a replay in super slow-mo, I think it's hard to say that's not a foul because he doesn't get the ball, and that was the key thing. If he'd have got a touch to the ball, then I think fair play. It was 2 players challenging for a relatively loose ball in the middle of the pitch, and if he'd have got a touch to it as well as the contact he made with Eriksen, then it would have been all right. But so I do think it was a foul. But having said that, I don't think that was enough of a foul for VAR to overrule a goal. And that's my issue with this whole thing in VAR and the fact it is re-refereeing games, which isn't what it's supposed to be doing. And it leads to so much inconsistency, and that's what's infuriating. I just don't see how you can rule that goal out, because in real time, Paul Tierney was staring at it 5 yards away, and he's perfectly happy with it. He doesn't give it. He just looked at it as a challenge in the middle of the pitch between 2 midfielders going for a ball. Yes, there's contact, but it's just a coming together. That's what happens. And if he's happy in real time watching that, I just think that should be a goal. I don't think VAR should be getting involved in that and saying, actually, come here, you've got to look at it in 15 different versions in super slow motion and then give a decision. I just don't think that's what the whole point of VAR. That's what we were told. It isn't what VAR was for. It's not for re-refereeing game. It's just for really clear and obvious errors. And if it takes about 15 slow motion replays to decide, actually, no, that's probably a foul, which it did, because Paul Tierney was over there looking at that screen for a long, long time. You could tell he wasn't totally convinced. So that shouldn't be given. That shouldn't be overturned. Yes, it probably was a foul. In fact, I think it was just about a foul. But that's not the point of VAR. It's not supposed to be the point, and it leads to inconsistencies. There's no way anyone can look at what happened to Bukayo Saka against Aston Villa with a penalty from Tyrone Mings and say that's not a foul. It absolutely was a foul. It was clear. He gets picked up and thrown. And yet VAR look at that and decide that's not worthy of giving a penalty. That's not worthy of overturning an on-field decision. You cannot tell me that was worse. What Odegaard did yesterday was worse than what Saka did. It's like they're finding ways to disallow goals. It's so hard to score goals in football. It's the hardest thing in the whole game. That's why it's such a low-scoring game. And yet they're disallowing really good goals. And what brilliant goal that was by Arsenal. And they would have gone on and won that game had they scored the first goal yesterday. And yet VAR, and look at the Brighton game as well. And I know technically it was just offside by about an inch. But then it rules out that brilliant goal by McAllister, which, the defender had headed it clear. And it's just these really good goals are getting ruled out by VAR for the tiniest of things that they have to go back and study inch by inch on the screen. And it just feels such a shame. And it was such a shame yesterday for Arsenal because it was a really good goal. Brilliant pass by Saka, brilliant run and finish by Martinelli. Arsenal go in front of that game, they win it. I'm 100% convinced. And that is just my problem with it. And you could see Mikel was annoyed about it. I mean, Odegaard was absolutely fuming. You could see. I mean, Mikel said, what I said is that it was a soft foul. It's just about consistency of the soft foul because of Bukayo Saka on Mings for a penalty last week, but that's not given as a penalty. The soft foul on Aaron Ramsdale when we conceded against Villa is a goal. And again, that's it. You can't, when you look at it, there's contact made with Aaron Ramsdale for the Villa goal last week. But I don't think that's enough for it. I think it should have been a goal because I don't think it's enough for VAR to overturn on-field decisions. I think they got that right, in all honesty. But then it's just the consistency again, isn't it? Why is that given as a goal? And then why wasn't Odegaard? Why wasn't Martinelli's yesterday? That's what's so infuriating. And it's just been a terrible, terrible weekend for VAR, in my opinion. I mean, the West Ham goal being ruled out is just such an absolute farce on Saturday. How anyone who's a supposed professional can sit in an office looking at a TV screen and can deem that a foul on Mendy, I have absolutely no idea. And then to make matters worse, how the actual on-field referee, can be so weak to go over, look at it on the screen and actually decide, I'm going to overrule my own decision, which I watched in real time. It's just pitiful refereeing from VAR and from the referee for being so weak to overturn it when he goes and looks. And it was even worse for the Newcastle goal when Willock got shoved into the goalkeeper. What is he supposed to do there? It was so blatant. He got totally shoved by the defender, and yet Willock gets penalised and a goal is ruled out. It's just a joke. All fans pay so much money to go and watch football and they want to see goals, and we're getting goals ruled out every single week for the most ridiculous things because VAR are getting involved when they absolutely don't need to, and it's just ridiculous and it's ruining the game, in my opinion. Just dread. I mean, look at that Brighton goal yesterday. 4.5 minutes that took to rule it out. Everyone in the stadium standing there thinking, what the hell's going on? 4.5 minutes. I mean, absolute joke. Okay, a bit of a blow for Smith Rowe yesterday. We're not sure exactly what happened yet, but he picked up some sort of injury in the warm down. He came on for the last 15 minutes. And then, as always, the subs were doing a warm down after the game with the fitness staff doing sprints and stuff like that. And he pulled up with some sort of injury and had to go off with one of the members of the coaching staff. So we'll wait to see exactly what he's done, but he didn't look happy. And that's a real blow because, this is a big week for Smith Rowe. He'd got his first start of the season this week in the Europa League, and he needs it. He needs to start playing some games, starting some games, getting some more minutes. And you could see how disappointed he was with it. So that's going to be a real blow. And it's going to be an issue for Arteta as well, because what are you going to do on the left-hand side now? Because Smith Rowe would be an absolute guaranteed starter for that game on Thursday night in Zurich. Now suddenly you're going to have to potentially risk playing Gabriel Martinelli over there in a game where he would have had a rest. So that's a big issue for Mikel Arteta, and we wait to see. Hope, you never know, we might get good news on Smith Rowe. It might not have been bad as it looked, but the look on his face, judging by the pictures, you saw David Ornstein tweeted some pictures. He was out pitch side at that point, I think, doing something for one of the American broadcasters, and he tweeted some pictures, and you could see just how disappointed he looked. And that's never a good sign because the players tend to know exactly how bad things are when he does do when they do injuries. So we'll wait to see that on Smith Rowe. Player ratings wise, now again, I feel like I need to watch this match again because I think I maybe be a little bit harsh on a couple of players, especially Sambi Lokonga, who I'll get to in a minute. But ratings wise, for Ramsdale, I mean, he couldn't do anything with the goals. I gave him a 6. He made one good save, although that was to make up for his mistake for a really bad pass out at 2-1. He saved that little chip from Bruno. He came out well, saved that. I've given White and Saliba 6. And I've given Zinchenko 6 and Gabriel 5. Those were the 4 defenders. And I thought White played pretty well, to be honest. I thought White was the best of the lot at right back. But then I didn't see... It's so tough when you're watching a real game, especially a game like yesterday. It was so intense. It was so quick. And the replays weren't great, so it's really tough because when you're watching it on TV, you can actually see so many replays and it's completely different. But when I saw what White did with the third goal was really poor. I don't know what he was doing for that. So I give him White a 6, but I could almost drop that down to a 5 because I just thought it was really poor. He could see what was happening. He was looking across the pitch, and White decided to step up and let them go through. I have no idea. And I thought Saliba played well on the most part, but I did think he got his body position wrong for the second goal. But it's really hard. It's nitpicking, isn't it? The game's so fast. So Ramsdale 6, White 6, Saliba 6, Gabriel 5, Zinchenko 6. I gave Sambi a 5, and I think I might be being a bit harsh with that. When things got really intense in that game, I thought he struggled a little bit, and I'm not surprised because he's on his own holding the midfield. But when things got really intense and really quick, I thought he struggled a little bit. He lost possession a bit. He lost possession at a key area for the second goal. But I also think when Arsenal were well on top, I thought Sambi played really well at times, and he was passing really nicely, spraying the ball out wide really nicely, and he was moving it on. So I don't think he was dreadful by any means, and that's why I feel like I'm being a little bit harsh giving him a 5, and I think if I sat back and watched the whole game again, I think I'd be more pleasantly surprised at his actual level of performance. But I thought at the key moments when United just got on top and Arsenal lost their heads a little bit, I thought Sambi struggled amid that intensity. So I gave him a 5, but I think I might be being a bit harsh on that. I gave Xhaka and Odegaard a 7. I gave Saka a 7 as well. Good for Saka to get his first goal. I think he needed that. And he was so unlucky. The assist for Martinelli's goal that was ruled out was brilliant by Saka. So I gave Odegaard 7, Saka 7. I gave Martinelli and Jesus an 8 each. I thought Jesus played really well. It was really strong. Held the ball up really well. Could have done with him getting in more dangerous positions at times. But I thought it was a decent performance. I thought Martinelli was electric for almost all the game. I thought he played really, really well. He was my man of the match yesterday, and so unlucky to have that game ruled out. Let me know what you guys think about my ratings or anything else I've said in this video. If you agree with me, disagree with me, let me know. As always, get involved in the comments below. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies for it being a bit of a downbeat Monday video, but hey, Arsenal lost. It's tough to be too upbeat, but there was certainly lots to like about that performance yesterday as well. So I don't think it's crisis mode or anything like that. And remember, Arsenal are still top of the league as well ahead of next weekend's game against Everton. We've got the Europa League ahead of that as well on Thursday night, so keep your eyes peeled for more videos as we build up to that match in Switzerland. Have a good day, everyone.